We learn the most when we're forced to step outside of our immediate surroundings, from what we're familiar with into new uncomfortable situations. Hello, if you're new to the channel, my name is Jack Wayne. I'm a science educator and microbiologist based in Australia. And on this channel, we talk about science education and how you can learn many different things that can be applicable to all sorts of career paths. Previously, I made a much longer video about comfort zones and how to navigate the uncertainty that comes with stepping outside of your comfort zone. And the previous small chapter from this was solely about navigating comfort zones as a university student. Today is the second chapter of this breakdown, where we go into details about how you find the first job after graduating from something like university or college, and how understanding your comfort zones or lack thereof can help you in that process. As always, if you're interested in the full video, it is linked below. Hope this is helpful.
Once you've gone through university, which by the way, I don't take for granted, I know that it's a very difficult process, a stressful process for a lot of students. When are you going to find a job? And I guess really, does your university experience actually prepare you for a job?
The elephant in the room is many of you might feel like uni or college is not that relevant to finding a job anymore. And many of you are working in areas that don't need formal qualifications. And I guess the rub is that if you want to find jobs that are independently contracted, that are very flexible, that are from small businesses, sure, formal qualifications might not be that important. If you think about building a long-term career, most of those are still provided through these big institutions that still value formal qualifications. On top of that, there is the sense that you've completed something that's recognized through a big institution. And secondly, probably the more important part of this is that if you're going straight out of high school, having the ability to form professional networks or social networks and learning those soft skills is really easy to do within a community environment like at university or college. Much harder to do when you're by yourself trying to go it alone.
And I think what's lost often in discussion is that people think university should be training you for one specific job that they can see advertised right now online. And that unfortunately is too narrow a window and too narrow in terms of a framework of thinking about employability, because if it's a job that you can do a bit of study and go straight into, the flip side of that is anyone else can come along and do that same study that you did and get that same job. And there's just not an unlimited number of any kind of job. If it's too accessible to any kind of graduate, that also means you're unfortunately very replaceable. And that's not the kind of job readiness or employability that we mean. We mean when we say employability that you're actually setting yourself up to be as versatile as possible when you graduate. Have a range of different skills that make you suitable for all sorts of different jobs, not just one very specific job. Unless of course you're doing something that is very regulated, something like medicine or law, you will end up in that job that you trained to do. But even those jobs are becoming more and more competitive. Not every single doctor who studies medicine will go straight into a hospital at a location that they like. So this is a really interesting space in that your university experience should be training you to do not just one job, but ideally lots of different types of jobs with different kinds of skills. Now we can go into each category of skill, but that's a very long discussion for a different video. But what I think is interesting is that the commonality underlying all of these different jobs that you may be competitive for are soft skills, are not the technical knowledge of the discipline, but the other transferable skills that make you seem like a good employee to hire during the interview process. And one of the biggest ones is communication. Can you put people at ease when you're communicating? Can you tell them why you are valuable to their context? And even if you haven't done exactly what this organization wants you to have done, your range of experiences, as diverse and interesting as they may be, can be adapted to this job and can actually bring a lot more value than they originally envisaged when writing out this job description. And that is a real skill. Interviewing and writing selection criteria and selling yourself, the best parts of yourself in an employable package, is a real skill. And the way that we learn these skills, unfortunately, for the most part, is not just about getting good grades at university. Because if you get good grades, you're doing a lot of studying, a lot of reading. Maybe a lot of this is isolated by yourself in your room, so you can focus. You're doing 10 hours of study every day. Then when you graduate, you don't have that much life experience. You don't have that much people experience. You don't have experience talking about yourself to other people and relating to other people, empathizing with other people. And these are all skills that are the first thing that employers will notice if you don't have them. There are lots of ways of learning these soft skills, and one of the best ways is to find some kind of job or volunteer work that involves talking to different people all the time, every single day. That could be in retail, in a non-profit, that could be approaching people on the street. Lots of different ways of learning communication skills. And what I chose at the time as a student, I did a lot of high school tutoring for parents who are really worried about their kids going through high school and their grades. It's a kind of an Asian thing. In part, a lot of Asian parents put a lot of pressure on their kids. And so it was my job to come in as someone studying university to help those high school students with their homework, with their assignments, managing the parents' pressure and trying to create a bridge of communication between the kid and the parent. And that's a difficult thing. And I did it consistently 20 hours a week for 4 or 5 years. And I learned so many different ways of communicating as a result of that experience. And that did me really well when I was applying for jobs. And I think that's the really important thing, to think outside of just the discipline that you're studying, not just your qualifications, but all the other ancillary supporting skills that present you as a human being that's worthy of being hired. And unfortunately, that is not just about the piece of paper you have at the end of university.
That was part 2 from our longer conversation about comfort zones. You can find part 1 as well as the full discussion, all linked below. Next time, let's talk about how you move beyond the first job that you're finding after graduation into building a full career and all of the discomfort that may entail. This is the BioLab Collective. I'm Jack Wayne. See you next time.